Hello and welcome to Six Figure Souls, Doing Good and Making Money. This is a special edition, season 5, where we are interviewing our co-authors of the book, The Ultimate Guide to Creating Your Soul-Aligned Business, 25 Practical Strategies from the Experts. I am your host, Camille Miller, lead author for the book and pioneer for the soul professional movement. Today we have Susan Prescott with us. She is the author of Chapter 15, Merging Business and Spirituality, How to Activate Prosperity and Freedom with Ease. Thank you, Susan, for joining us today.
Thank you for having me, Camille.
You are so welcome.
Forward to this. Yeah.
So first tell us about your work, and then we'll talk about your chapter. So tell everyone what you do.
Well, Camille, I have spent the last 20 years helping business owners create optimal outcomes in their business. On their business, implementing effective operating systems, creating long-term visions, setting short-term, long-term goals, and implementing a plan. But you know what? I finally came to the realization there's really something missing. And there's a missing ingredient that most business owners, including me, had been leaving out. And that was creating a bridge between the part of me that is very spiritual and the part of me that really wants to create abundance through my business.
Beautiful. I love that. So you're a first-time author with this chapter. Tell us what that experience was like. Telling your story for the first time. I know there's a difference, and being an author for the first time, because there's two different things.
It's a different kind of an author. I have co-authored textbooks.
Okay.
Very left brain, logical, technical, data-based, written documentations, training manuals. So coming from this chapter, getting out of my head, getting into my heart, and coming from being more heart-centered and creative was quite an experience. So I had to overcome a little bit of fear.
I totally get that part. So why did you decide now was the time to tell your story?
I'm in a transitional period where I am moving more to creating a wholeness within the individual, rather than focusing on the business, focusing on the individual, where they can become whole, and take that wholeness into their business. So it means being more spiritually aligned, which, means merging those two together. And spirituality has nothing to do with religion. It's just being who you are at soul level.
Absolutely.
Recognizing your talents, it's recognizing your energy gifts, remembering, you might say, who you're created to be, and how to take that into your business. And when you're doing that, you're going to create abundance, but also that freedom that so many people desire and they are missing out on because they're overwhelmed and overworked and all the chaotic things that go on in your business.
Beautiful. So tell us a little bit more about your chapter without giving it all away.
Well, I start out in this chapter with a dream I had, because not giving my chapter away because I want you to read it.
Yep.
It's coming to the realization that I have been relying, like so many people, on the opinions and the advice of people and things outside of me, and with the so-called experts on how to run a business, rather than going inside of me, because all of the answers that we have are right in here inside of us.
Yeah.
So it's letting go of that ego, and it was that ego that was supporting my false self, basically, is what that is. And it was coming into the realization, and this is what I went through. I'm really ready to step out. I'm really ready to achieve that freedom that I want. And then I go through with what freedom means for me. And freedom means different things to different people.
Right.
But if you were to identify that in writing what freedom means to you, I think you'll get a better, clearer example. And it's not just freedom of time. That's what most people think about. But it's freedom really to be your true, authentic self. I say your optimal power that you're able to take into the world. And it's when we do that, you know, what better way to change the world to be more positive, to be of service than through our business. And that can be a tool that we use, an avenue that we use to really make a positive difference in this world. And that's bringing freedom to me, knowing I'm living my life purpose and doing that through my business.
What a beautiful message, Susan. And I love that. That's the one thing I hear when I work with entrepreneurs. They're looking for freedom, but they haven't exactly defined what that is. But that's what they're looking for. They're free to be them authentically, freedom of their time, freedom to just flow through life. Beautiful,
Exactly.
beautiful. Right. So what would be some advice you would give to someone who is just starting out? I find that most of the time people are in that professional facade of what they should be doing. They're shooting all over themselves and what they really want to be doing.
It's really identifying why you created your business.
Mm-hmm.
When you know what you want, how you want to serve the world through your business, have that crystal clear. So it's not about money at all. It's just saying, you know, it's a feeling inside that you have because you're living your life purpose through your business.
Mm-hmm.
And it goes back to who are you at soul level? And that's my message that I would have to offer to people. You know, I've done leadership training and years with companies, and I'd always talk about, let's find your beingness.
I love that.
Look at me and say, Susan, beingness isn't a word. And I says, yes, it is. Because until you know who you are inside, without any doubt, the values that you have, that you're not going to compromise on, then you're going to hit those stumbling blocks through life. So.
Absolutely. Now, do you think you've always been a spiritual or soul aligned person, or are you still awakening? Like I always say, were you born awake or are you awakening?
There's never I've reached that. You know, really my spiritual path started, I grew up in a very traditional Christian church. So Christianity is my background, but I always knew there was something more. I had that inner hunger. You know, so many people have that inner hunger inside, can't put their finger on it. So I started a spiritual quest, you might say, but I had it hidden from the rest of the world. Yeah. Because I didn't want them to know what I was going through, but I've had mentors. I've read all of the books would start falling off the shelf, you know, put out to the universe what you want. And my golly, there it is. And, you know, even about 3 years ago, I said, I want to learn how to read soul records because I had people read my soul records. And the very, very next day on Facebook was an ad, learn how to read the Akashic Records. So I spent the last 3 years really learning how to do that. And more importantly, learning that your business is an energetic entity.
Absolutely.
Its own records. And when you could read that energy of a business and match it up with your own energy, then you can really have leaps and bounds. But we're never going to be fully awakened on this earth, Camille. It's an ongoing journey. And the important thing that I had to learn and recognize is never judge anybody for where I think they are on their journey, because everybody has where they need to be.
Absolutely.
And it's letting them be who they are. So overcoming judgment was I put that on my being list, and I do that. I still have to do that. I am non-judgmental. I see everybody with that light inside of themselves, and it's just allowing that light to grow in everybody that we come in contact with.
Oh my gosh, that's beautiful. That's one that I work on as well. I have a need to fix everything and starting to step back and not fix things. Yeah, and let everyone be on their own path. That's so beautiful. So last question, what was your overall thought of the book as a collaboration, or some thoughts about some of the authors you met along the way?
Well, this is, I think, one of the perks of doing this, because it's connecting with other like-minded people and hearing their stories. And every story is unique. Everyone has their own journey, but and diversified. That's another thing I liked about this book, because if you don't resonate with one chapter, believe me, you're going to find multiple other chapters that you can relate to. And their suggestions on how to move forward is sometimes you take this piece and sometimes you take that piece. And I had one author reach out to me who read my chapter and said, I'm going to start incorporating this in my daily routine. So, you know, it was a fun experience, and I hope that we will stay in contact with the other authors as we move forward. I made some good friends through this. It's been a good experience.
Fabulous. Fabulous. Thank you so much, Susan, for being a part of the book and sharing your inspirational story with us in your words, and for being on our show today just to talk about your chapter a little bit.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
I'm so excited. I just want to remind all of our listeners that you can purchase this book on Amazon. It comes in an ebook form and a paperback form. You can go to The Ultimate Guide to Creating Your Soul-Aligned Business, 25 Practical Strategies from the Experts. You can also Google Soul Professional and you will find it there as well. I want to thank Susan for being a part of our broadcast today, and thank you, our listeners, for being a part of our audience. For more information about the Soul Professional movement, you can go to soulprofessional.com. This podcast is sponsored by the Natural Life Business Partnership, a global professional organization and business incubator for the soul-aligned entrepreneur. If you live in a higher vibration, have an alternative approach to business, and want to help repair the world, come join us at our next meet and greet. You can find the date that fits you and your time schedule at soulprofessional.com. Everyone, have a great rest of your day.